Good morning. You just woke up. You're still blinking away the sleep, but your hand reaches for your phone anyway. You open TikTok, scroll for a few minutes, and a heavy weight settles on your chest. Me too. Every morning, as I do my makeup, I listen to an episode from the New York Times podcast, The Daily. Some of the recent things I've heard about are the AI bubble, the constant turbulence in the US government, the war in Ukraine. To be honest, I feel anxious every morning. Do you feel anxious? Consider the current environmental, political, social, and economic state of the world. Could we have a show of hands? I'm stressed. See? You're not alone. The problem that most of us Gen Zers are dealing with is called overconsumption of news. Today, I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of how that happens. A survey by Global Coalition for Youth Mental Health, a UNICEF-led initiative, shows that social media is Gen Z's main source of information. The survey also shows that 6 out of 10 Gen Z respondents are overwhelmed by current events. So what is causing this problem, right? What are the main culprits? The two main culprits are these two social media features that are designed to keep you on the platform rather than informed. The first one is algorithms. Algorithms in social media like TikTok, X, Instagram, etc. are designed to push shocking, therefore usually negative content. That is because the thrill of disturbing information, it excites the user and tends to keep them on the platform for longer. The second feature is the content format. Social media is based on short-form content, the most common video format usually being around 30-second long videos. That is because the consumption of short-form content does not require a long attention span, so the user remains entertained and scrolling for hours. And since the length of the video is quite short, the amount of information consumed is extremely high, and the chances of actually understanding that information and processing it well are extremely low. So that is how Gen Z ends up consuming a lot of distressing information without actual consent. Of course, I cannot simply overlook the advantage of having social media as a news source. For example, increased activism and awareness of global problems, but we cannot simply overlook and ignore the key disadvantage, anxiety around our future. I am sure all of you are familiar with anxiety, but let's look a little deeper through a scientific lens, shall we? What do we see? To put it simply, popcorn. Seriously. In an interview for an article, Doomscrolling Dangers by Harvard Health Publishing, Dr. Nurikar says that doomscrolling can give you popcorn brain. She explains it as a biological phenomenon that causes your brain to feel as if it is popping because of overstimulation. The consequence of this overstimulation is stress that hinders our ability to act when it comes to making an impact. Let me paint you a picture. This is Jane. She's studying at Clares, and she just learned about children who cannot afford books and are unable to read. She scrolls through 78 TikTok videos, urging people to help, commenting on every single one of them. She scrolls, posts, reposts, shares, tags, and is beyond stressed. However, she does not think to donate her own books on her own shelf to the cause. Not out of bad will, she was just overwhelmed. Now that we have a clear picture of the issue, we can look for ways to tackle it. Unfortunately, the problem cannot be solved as easily since we cannot simply log off and ignore world problems. But what we can try to do is consume media mindfully. To do that, you can do these 3 steps. The first one is reflect on what you consumed. After absorbing some news, take a step back and evaluate them. For example, you can ask yourself, is the issue relevant? If so, how can I impact it? You might find that thinking about problems constructively makes them seem less unsolvable than before. Secondly, you should avoid doom scrolling. To achieve that, you could either set timers or have a designated time in your routine to check your socials. And finally, you should gather your news from a trusted news channel. Even on social media, you could use official news channel accounts or follow specialists that are familiar with the matter. In that way, you can avoid radical speculation and conspiracy theorists. And it is not just us who are trying to address this issue. The governments of countries all over the world are addressing the issue as well. For example, in the UK, the Liberal Democrats are pushing for cigarette-style health warnings to be shown to children using social media. Cool, right? In conclusion, we are the most socially aware, active, and connected generation. However, the amount of troubles that we learn about daily can be overwhelming. With that in mind, I would like you to take your first step. I challenge you to take out your phones and check your social media screen time. See and evaluate. Is the amount of time that I spent on social media today worth the information that I received? Think about it. Discuss. Take out your phones, guys. Don't be shy. And with that in mind, I hope that with this newfound consciousness, you can shape the future and not the other way around. Thank you.